I was just about to check the email too.
You know what you about to do?
Hey, I was about to check my email. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. My name is Ebony. First and foremost, I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk with me because I grew up watching you and admiring your blueprint, and I'm just honored to have this convo with a legend.
Yes, thank you.
So, what made you feel like it was a good time to drop the No Limit docuseries like during this time?
I feel like, I mean, it was time we got everybody able to tell a story, whether you was part of the journey, you was just part of the season, because, you know, everybody think they are part of the story.
Exactly.
And I feel like most people can appreciate it, being a part of something that is a part of me because I kept going. And people don't realize that a lot of people probably could have made it and they could have been on this journey with us, but they gave up too early.
Right.
They didn't believe in our mission. They didn't believe in what I believed in, and that's okay. But I feel like the only way to defeat the devil, you got to keep going. And some people thought that this was just, you know, I mean, when you first start off in business, or start off in something that you love and you're passionate about, maybe you might not be that great in it. And
Right.
I wanted people to see that in this No Limit Chronicle when I first started out in the Bay, even though I love the Bay so much for giving me my character and understanding the hustle in the music business. But people just seen me as a check. They didn't believe in me. They just thought that, you know, this country boy, he whack, he not that good, he sound different. And everybody didn't accept that. Some people used that. Some people was passionately like, believe, man, this kid gonna make it. He just got to keep going. And I just thank God for the ones that didn't believe. I was able to cut those relationships off, whether he was an artist or a producer, because I feel like carrying that excess baggage with me, I probably wouldn't have made it.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of those guys, they wanted this documentary to be about them, but I couldn't spend 30 minutes on people that didn't make it with me. This story is about people that made it, people that worked together, people that overcame triumphs, people that, you know, broke barriers that just kept going. And I think I'm grateful for the ones that are successful with me and we was able to overcome whatever challenges they put in our way. And I think that's what the No Limit story is about. And the ones that just ungrateful and unappreciative, that's why you haven't made it. You know, 25 years later and you still angry and upset, something wrong with you, because you know, we worked hard over here. Especially me, I worked hard. I didn't let people stop me from doing what I need to do. And I think that's why God has continued to bless me and to bless my family, because when you know better, you do better, and doing the right thing will get you longevity.
One thing I admired about the No Limit story is your persistence, because I'm starting in the music industry as well. And, you know, Black creatives are typically seen as a check just to exhaust our creativity and just get the next dollar. So seeing you keep pushing despite everything or not seeing the results that you wanted to see immediately was definitely like notable.
Yeah, but people don't realize it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Like I was around some
Exactly.
of the greatest artists in the world, and I went from selling no records to selling over 100 million records independently.
Out of your
And
trunk.
yeah, that's, you know, you have to have a passion for what you're doing and love it. And I think that's why God has spared my life and I was able to be successful because I didn't worry about what other people was doing or how great they were. I took it as like when I seen the Michael Jordan story. So everybody's story should motivate you. Michael Jordan got cut in high school and he ended up being the best basketball player in the world.
Exactly.
So I'm like, oh, they think I'm whack. So okay, Monday, I couldn't make no hit record. Tuesday, I came close to one. Wednesday, I'm sounding like something. Then Thursday, every day I'm getting better and better. And I think that's what I want people to get out this docuseries, that Peter didn't mind getting better. He didn't mind getting in there working, putting the work, making the sacrifice, but he was committed. He was passionate about, you know, his dreams and his goals. And I think a lot of people, we let other people knock our hustle from us getting to where we got to go because we worry about their opinion, especially with the social media world we live in now. I feel like a lot of young people, they get caught up, and a lot of those people opinion don't matter. I mean, you got people sitting around that is doing nothing, having an opinion about you. And so you shouldn't worry about that. If you keep doing what's right, you're going to get to where you need to go. And those opinions are small, but for some people, they get caught up into it.
So despite your early music being received negatively, I saw in the second part of the documentary, you went to the West Coast, and I heard the influence in your music, like the West Coast influence. What are some things that you did actively to practice your craft? Like how did you practice?
Yeah, so what I done, I start like listening to beats, because you know back then if you go in there, you got so much time to make a song, and you can't mess up. It's on ADAT, so it's like, it's not like now. So I started preparing before I go in there, and so when I hear music, you know, words just start coming to me, and so I start saying, okay, let me start working on coming with those right words to go with this, and just getting better. I just think at my poetry, at painting a picture, like not trying to make something up, but just going about what I see every day and what I'm going through. And I think that's when people start being able to relate to my music, knowing that it's coming from the heart and the soul, and me just working on my flow and my delivery. And I mean, even looking in the mirror, people don't realize I start looking in the mirror, singing my songs to myself. So like, sometimes you gotta do that. Like, if that's what you love and that's what you want to do, and just putting extra energy into my music and the way I'm delivering it back. So that's what I started doing.
Okay.
And even started running. So, you know, because, you know, the music, running.
Okay.
You know, rapping my songs while I'm running, being able to deliver it, knowing that I got to go on stage and stuff like that, just preparing for the overall picture.
And that's refreshing to hear, because in this social media climate, it doesn't seem like people take the time out to perfect their craft. They're worried about like pushing out singles so quickly. They're not like making albums or like full-length projects. So I feel like whoever is listening to this interview needs to take notes.
Yes. And I want whoever listening to this to realize a music career lasts 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years is a music career.
5 years is I'm talking about a hot music career. 3 to 5 years. After that, you need to start thinking of product. If you watch the docuseries, I was already having an exit strategy with all my product, coming up with the clothing line, the shoes, the dolls, just everything, thinking product like I'm doing now. So got the icon noodles.
The noodles, we need those.
We got the chips. That's the meatballs.
And the Fetty Wap.
Oh, you like the Romeo? So I'm gonna put the Romeos up for you. But also, you know, when you look at now, like having the Manjati, the clothing line, the brand, to where and making like loud color shoes, because you know this generation they want loud. So
exactly,
that's the Manjatis, but doing this on our own to where, you know, we could do this.
Other companies, like the same designers that everyone else is buying.
Yeah, and Manjati stand for motivating oneself, and I encourage you actually independently. We got to think outside the box. We got to think bigger. We got to think ownership, because without ownership, we don't control nothing.
We see that now.
And also, product don't talk back. Product don't talk back. It don't talk back. Remember that. So you can make your investment and don't have to worry about it talking back to you.
I'm already thinking about my product as we speak.
Yeah.
So in my personal opinion, I feel like the best times in hip hop was when we had like strong unions, like No Limit, Cash Money, Bad Boy, Rockefeller. Like when we had strong units, that was like the best times in hip hop. Do you feel like hip hop's ready for another strong conglomerate?
Yeah, because you know, like I said, it lasts 3 to 5 years. It also
Mhm.
changes, you know, like that too. So history gonna keep repeating itself. We just gotta start thinking of unity and stop worrying about each other, who got what, how much this one make, and stop trying to count each other pockets. Like I never worried about what Jay-Z had or Puffy or any of those guys. I just thank the man up above for what I have. And I made the best out of whatever I have. And I think that's the way we got to be. We need to be able to celebrate each other. I've always celebrated Jay Prince, Rap A Lot, Swab House, Uncle Luke. These all guys that came before me. And so I think we have to learn how to do that. And then your blessings will keep coming. And you have to realize that this is temporary success. So it don't matter. You can't take it with you. It's about what you do with what you have. And I tell people, for me to measure your success, I don't measure on what you have. I measure success on how much you're able to give away, you know, how much you can help. And I think that's the difference. So we got to stop thinking the way we think, that we're trying to outdo each other, because there's enough for
Mhm.
all of us. I mean, you go to Rodale Drive, you see stores on every corner. They're not beefing and killing each other or
Exactly.
mad at each other. These people are uniting, coming together. They're figuring out how to make their business stronger, how to link up. And I think that's the page we got to get on. And when you look at back in the days in the 90s when we made all these powerhouse companies, you know, it was companies. It wasn't
Yeah.
just groups. That's what people got to realize. And so when you building a company, you're building something that everybody can eat off of. So we definitely got to get back into that, the unity part. And we stronger together. I mean, even you look at us protesting, we stronger together. So
Absolutely.
so yeah, nah, that's the page we got to get back on. And I feel like these young people is really going to get back on that. I'm in Compton now. Uh, you know, we had a terrible tragedy. We lost a 14-year-old kid that was 6'7", size 16 shoe, and he just had a bright future. Could have been the next LeBron James. He played on the same AAU team that James Harden played on. The kid name is Shamar Miller.
Shamar Miller.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Shamaje, Shamaje Miller.
Shamar.
Shamaje Miller. Shamaje Miller,
I think I saw
which,
the line.
yeah, and he could have been the next LeBron. Think about LeBron 6'7" now as a grown man. This kid's 6'7" at 14 with a 16 shoe. James Harden played for the same team that this kid played on AAU. So imagine if James Harden would have died at 14. We never would have got a chance to see his greatness. So my message is to this generation is our kids matter. Black lives matter. Our kids matter too, because that's our future.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the world to know this kid, and I don't want this to happen no more to no other kids. So that's our movement, is our kids matter. Let the kids grow. We definitely have to save our kids, because without them, there's no future.
Exactly. Piggybacking on that point, I'm from Brooklyn, and there's
Yeah,
a current Brooklyn drill wave going on, and it's like it's bubbling, but it just can't seem to take off because of the stigma, the violent
yeah,
stigma that it has to it. And I personally feel like the labels are aware of the message and the content and the music. You know, there are interns there telling them
yeah,
about what's going on, and I feel like, in a sense, like crime is promoted for profit.
yeah. Well, you know what? We have to take care of us, and we have to think of, and it comes from education. We got to educate the next generation.
Mhm.
And I feel like, you know, we pray for money. I pray for wisdom, and I want to teach kids to pray for wisdom, because you have the wisdom, the money, everything gonna come with that. They say that in the Bible. And this this senseless crime is not going to stop unless we start educating and empowering the next generation. We should be sending these kids to college, not to prison or the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. I previously spoke to Romeo on the phone
Yeah,
about, I believe, his music and Money Yachty. And I asked him
yeah,
about his conversation with NBA Youngboy, and he didn't disclose a lot, but he did suggest forming like a mentorship program led by figures like yourself to mentor the controversial young rappers like NBA Youngboy and Kodak Black, or anyone else you hear in the press that may have a negative image? Is that something that you'd be open to?
The thing about that, you know, we was once that young kid.
Exactly.
You got to be willing to listen and take advice. You know, they got a lot of people that want to help you, but you got to be willing to perceive it. That's the difference. So I've always been an open sponge to my culture and my community. You just got to be willing to accept that. And I think I can't make you change your life, your mindset. I realize that. That's why I focus on the younger kids. I realize if we can do prevention with them, because once a kid get a certain amount of money, they want to do whatever they want to do because they think the powers and, you know, the money they have.
Exactly.
And they realize the system sets you up to make you feel. And then once you feel, they turn it back on you. So hopefully, you know, a lot of these guys be able to learn from other people's mistakes, even learn from the good stuff I did, the bad stuff I did, and say, hey, if P did this and he made it, then, you know, let me follow some of those good things that he's done and why he changed his life and his mindset, in that if he could do it, I could do it. So you got to have that type of attitude. So if somebody have that type of attitude, I'm willing to help with it. If you have a selfish attitude, then you're going to have to learn the hard way, and that's by experience.
Yeah. You know, I also noticed in comparison to when I was growing up, we had the little Bow Wows, little Romeos, B2Ks, B5s, and I work in a school in the daytime, and I noticed that the kids are listening to the same explicit music that I'm listening to or adults are listening to. Do you feel like that plays a part?
Well, it's definitely plays a part in mind development, but, you know, as parents, we got to spend more time with our kids and got to let them know that this is just entertainment. This is just music. So don't get caught up into that. And if you don't want your kids listening to that, then that's on you as a parent, because your kids is taking advice from the parents.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's like a hot topic over the weekend about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's song, and you had a female MC on No Limit, which was a very important part of the record label too, because female rap, like the legacy of female rap is just real unique and special. So I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts on the song?
Well, I mean, it's a song that you got to realize for this time and this generation. I keep telling you, like music, everything changes 3 to 5 years. So, you know, everything is going to be different. It's not going to be the way when I grew up or when you grew up. But, you know, what's hot for this culture is just the culture. And I like it because it's two females doing their thing. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like we also have to educate this culture at the same time too. So you got to give them some type of balance. And I think that people seeing that like a Cardi B and a Megan Thee Stallion, like they come from nothing and they're able to be successful, that's going to motivate young people. And now once you get in, then you come up and you add a little, because that's what I did. You know, as I got bigger, I added a little more knowledge to my game as I got better, and I'm able to give that to the fan base. And I think these girls are going to be able to do the same thing. So I'm just sitting back waiting.
All right, I agree. I don't think like parents are supposed to spend more time with their children, period. So recently the Spotify CEO, he did an interview saying, like, criticizing the artists who were complaining about not seeing enough revenue. He said, you cannot make music every 3 to 4 years and expect to, like, not verbatim, he didn't say these words verbatim, but he's just like, you're not going to make money making music every 3 to 4 years. You have to make music more frequently. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you have to know the time period you're in.
Yeah.
So if I was in this time period, I've been made $1 billion right now, because I'm be dropping music, dropping.
You don't even need the trunk. You could just upload it online.
You upload it, get you a couple geeks, and get you some videographer people, and master this game. That's all you need, because it's all about technology now. So, and then you go in the studio and crank out records. I mean, just like the guy from Spotify said, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. If you know now, to make your money, you have to keep delivering music, keep delivering, because people want new music every day, all day. So if you're feeding that monster, then only thing you're doing is growing your pockets, and you're not sitting around complaining. Notice if people are sitting around complaining, that means they're not happy. And you can't look for somebody else to make you happy. You have to make you happy. So you need to get out there and go put the work in. A lot of artists are partying and playing and hanging out with their friends because they think they done got so big. But guess what? Somebody else coming. Somebody else coming. So
Yeah.
if you don't have that mentality, if this all you do, you're gonna lose in the end.
And like you said, adding products is
Yes.
super important to your brand.
All that take work though. That's what people don't realize. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds good, but it also take work, investing your time into what you believe in.
You know, I was young, but I definitely remember hearing like about your grind, the music, and in the NBA, even the Romeo Show. That's more so like what I was born to see. Whatever happened to that show? I used to love watching it on Nickelodeon.
You gotta grow up.
You gotta go.
You gotta grow up.
Like, well, what? Like, how come it ended? You know, every show possibly has a story. Like,
Now, I mean, Romeo had to go to school. He wanted to go to college. He wanted to do a lot of things, and I think it makes sense. So just growing up.
and just grew apart and moved on.
Yes, and move on.
Okay. So one thing I really loved in the documentary, which I could probably assume that you're a very family-oriented man.
Yes.
You come from a big family. You definitely hold them down. You formed your original group with your siblings.
Yes.
How was that? Like, did you guys bump heads a lot? Did anybody else want to be have the spotlight?
In a family, you're always gonna bump heads. No different whether you got money, you have no money. That's just the love. But the greatest thing about having family when you bump heads, we might be mad at each other for 5 minutes. Somebody else run up on us. We all jumping them. We all fighting together. So that's where the love. I tell people all the time, you could choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
Right. And before we head out, I know I vaguely remember you mentioning one of the purposes of the documentary was to prove your brother D. Murder's innocence. Yes. Any update on the case that you can possibly shed any light on?
Yeah, well, Wednesday in the grand finale, you'll see the real story.
Okay.
And hopefully, we able to turn this around and get him out of being incarcerated because he's an innocent man. And I think any other kids watching this, you got to think about what you name yourself. You got to think about actually really changing your life. None of us is perfect because trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of. So we're praying for C, and hopefully we'll be able to turn this around real soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm definitely going to send some good energy your way. I thank you so much for taking your time out talking to me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.